Let's dive into 20 interesting facts about Ghost of Tsushima. Whether you're a seasoned samurai or just starting your journey, the behind-the-scenes story of this masterpiece is literally just as epic as the game itself. Number 1. Sucker Punch Productions actually made a massive creative jump with this one. Before crafting this beautiful historical samurai epic, they were famous for the Infamous series. The game's all about modern-day superheroes with wild electrical and neon powers. Going from superpowered parkour in a modern city to grounded, traditional samurai combat in ancient Japan is an incredibly brave and fascinating leap for a studio to make. Number 2, to make that huge leap work, the developers had this burning desire to completely master the mechanics of intense blade-to-blade action. They really wanted to move on from their previous superhero games and absolutely nail the feeling of holding a katana. It wasn't just about changing the setting, it was about building a whole new experience from the ground up, where every single sword swing felt heavy, dangerous, and totally satisfying.
Number 3, it's wild to think how totally different things could have been. Imagine a universe where instead of a samurai, you were sailing the seas as a pirate, fighting as the Scottish outlaw Rob Roy, or even swashbuckling as one of the Three Musketeers. They threw all these crazy historical ideas at the wall before finally deciding that the way of the samurai was, for sure, the coolest path to take. Number 4. Every great project needs that awesome aha moment, right? Well, for this team, it happened when they stumbled upon a very real historical event. The year was 1274, and the Mongols actually invaded the island of Tsushima. As soon as they read about this incredible, high-stakes moment in history, it anchored their entire vision. Everything suddenly clicked into place, giving them the absolute perfect real-world backdrop for their epic story. Number 5. And hey, that puts us a quarter of the way through our list. This fact brilliantly shows just how dedicated the creators were. They didn't just look up pictures online, they literally packed their bags and traveled to the real-world Tsushima Island multiple times. They wanted to record the exact sounds of the local birds, scan the real leaves, and soak in the actual atmosphere so you could feel the true spirit of the island when you play. Number 6. To make sure they handled this beautiful setting with deep respect and pinpoint accuracy, they partnered up with Japan's studio. This collaboration was absolutely crucial because it helped the American team truly understand the fine details of Japanese culture, history, and traditions. It's just a fantastic example of teamwork ensuring that the world they were building was as authentic and respectful as possible. Number 7. If you're a fan of cinema, you're going to love this. The entire vibe, the wind blowing through the grass, the dramatic camera angles, it's all a massive love letter to classic samurai films. The undeniable biggest influence was the legendary director Akira Kurosawa. His epic movies completely shaped the visual style and that dramatic, tense feeling of the adventure. Number 8, speaking of that massive cinematic influence, the developers built a literal visual filter just to honor those old-school movies. They created something called Kurosawa mode. When you turn it on, it completely changes the visuals to a grainy, high-contrast black and white, and it even adjusts the audio to sound like a vintage movie from the 1950s. It totally transforms the gameplay into a living, breathing cinematic tribute. Number 9. Now, making this world wasn't entirely easy. The team had to walk a really tricky tightrope. On one hand, they wanted to stay true to real history and respect the actual events of the invasion, but on the other hand, they needed to make sure it was still an absolute blast to play, with an exciting, fast-paced story. Finding that perfect balance between fact and fun was their biggest challenge. Number 10. We've officially hit the halfway mark. Building on that last point about history, while the backdrop of the 1274 invasion is totally real, the heroes and villains you follow are actually awesome original creations. Jin and his allies were crafted specifically for this story. This gave the creators the freedom to write deeply emotional, fictional character arcs while still respecting the grand, historical stage they were set on. Number 11. Returning to their deep cinematic inspirations, that incredibly tense gameplay moment where you stare down an enemy, wait for the perfect second, and strike in a single flash? Well, that famous standoff mechanic was directly inspired by a specific movie scene. It comes straight from the mind-blowing, tension-filled ending of Akira Kurosawa's masterpiece film, Sanjuro. Number 12. It wasn't just movies that inspired them. Other iconic video games played a huge part too. The team looked closely at another absolute masterpiece, Shadow of the Colossus. They studied how that game used breathtaking, wide-open, wind-swept environments to make the player feel small in a grand, beautiful world. You can totally see that influence in the gorgeous rolling hills and minimalist landscapes you get to explore. Number 13.
When this finally released, the response was explosive. To put the magnitude of this achievement into perspective, it sold over 2.4 million copies right out of the gate in its first 3 days. That completely shattered records, making it the fastest-selling original first-party launch for the console at that time. Fans were just hungry for this kind of incredible samurai journey. Number 14. And that crazy launch momentum didn't stop. It evolved into an absolute global mega hit, going on to sell more than 13 million copies worldwide. By reaching so many players all across the globe, it quickly cemented itself as one of the most successful and beloved new franchises of the modern era. Number 15. We're in the home stretch with just 5 facts left, and this one is truly special. Because the world was crafted with so much love and beauty, real-world tourism to the actual island of Tsushima spiked. In response, the real-world officials actually honored 2 of the directors by naming them permanent tourism ambassadors for the island. What an amazing real-world honor for the creators. Number 16. This is an incredibly impressive feat. You know, sometimes when a Western studio tries to depict an Eastern culture, things can get lost in translation. But because of their intense research and deep respect, many Japanese players and critics showered it with high praise. Earning that kind of respect and validation directly from the culture they were depicting is a massive testament to their hard work. Number 17. In an industry where almost everything costs extra, this was a totally rare and player-friendly move. They dropped a massive, beautifully crafted, mythic multiplayer mode called Legends, and they gave it to everyone completely for free. It was a fantastic surprise that brought the community together to fight mythical demons without asking anyone to open their wallets again. Number 18. Get hyped because a live-action movie adaptation is officially in the works. And the best part? It's being directed by Chad Stahelski, the mastermind behind the incredibly action-packed John Wick films. If there is anyone on the planet perfectly suited to capture fast, brutal, and beautifully choreographed katana combat on the big screen, it is absolutely him. Number 19. I am seriously so excited for this one. The mythic, supernatural lore from the Legends multiplayer mode is actually being expanded into its very own anime adaptation, announced for release in 2027. Seeing these legendary warriors and Japanese mythological demons brought to life in stunning animation is going to be an absolute treat for fans. Number 20. Ultimately, the deep philosophical core of Jin's journey is a powerful message. It teaches us that to protect your home and the people you love, sometimes you have to break the rules, challenge old traditions, and completely redefine what true honor actually means. It really makes you wonder, in a modern world bound by strict rules and expectations, how far would you go to protect what you love? If you enjoyed slicing through these facts with me today, make sure to slash that like button, share this explainer with your fellow samurai, and subscribe for more epic content. See you next time.